It's a long time ago now, when it all started. This place is Bolivia. This fascinating, wondrous place, like traveling back in time.
Global Citizen. This was one of those films where it makes you want to take a little bit more risks and have the courage to live how you would like to live with your own values and not being trapped by, I don't know, traditional ways of living, and to open your heart a little bit to the world around you. I love the capturing of the family dynamic and getting to explore these challenges and the joys of travel through them, and how it expands your worldview and mindset of what's possible at any age. Um, I thought it was great, the message of lowering our barriers with one another in challenging beliefs about cultures, about what is safe and what is unsafe, about what is conventional, and about what kids can handle also. I really liked the flow of the film. I think it felt very organic in the structuring, getting to know them first, getting to know their journey, and then to be invited on the travel with them. I felt like a warm, intimate, invited guest. And I think that's really the heart of documentary making.
Global citizens. Um, Sometimes you gotta slow down from the constant work and just go and live on a farm. And that's what I gathered. We're giving the background of our family here. We're giving the background of me, so you get a sense of who we are, who our children are, and how we got here. And, it seems like they went from a certain life, and then we get to COVID where it makes more sense to let's slow down and like work on a farm and live on a farm, which I think is a great idea because, for the rest of us that were living in studio apartments in the midst of COVID, farm would have been lovely. Um, but for me, I feel like essentially this is all about raising his daughters as global citizens, and how raising his family or leading his family through a life of travel and various experiences has been very informative on the way they see the world. I love how he starts and recounts his time in Colombia. And as someone who visited Colombia last year for her birthday, I had the same reservations because of all the things you hear, cartel and like cocaine. You just hear things, and Colombia is so utilized in the media as this, Medellin, like cartel, narcos, like thing that is negative, that it makes it scary. But, that did not stop my trip. And it was a life-changing experience. And in going, I did realize that a lot of the things that we were talked about and told about is not really the reality. And you can have your perceptions of a place never going there, and those will always be your perceptions. But if you go, then your perceptions are going to be forever changed. And I was happy to see that we had the same experience because I agree. Traveling will change your perspective of the place. So then we get to the next stop and the next stop, and then it feels like very much like we're traveling with his family throughout this whole documentary, and we're seeing how he's opening his children to the world, into and opening their minds to new cultures and traditions. And we're seeing how in doing adventures, you're able to teach them formidable lessons that are aiding in their growth and development. And it's a very interesting parenting style, because sometimes if you think, oh, I'm traveling with my daughters and we're all over the place, you think that that seems like irresponsible, or you think that, well, how do they have any structure? But in reality, their daughters are probably going to be more well-rounded than your average child, because for them, they've experienced so many different traditions and diverse cultures, and had these experiences where they, you know, even with the canoe situation, where it's like I'm learning how to scold my child in a way that she understands that this is a priority in this moment, so that we're all safe, and it's things, it's learning um your independence as a child in doing things, because you're learning it by doing, as opposed to this being this theory. It's something that is actually practiced and tangible. And then also seeing how they would take from various cultures, various things and implement them into their day-to-day life. Because a lot of times when you have these varying experiences through travel, that it can influence you in a positive way. And I agree completely with this. This is how I live my life. I currently don't have children, but I travel frequently. Um, Last year, probably once a month. This year, a little less frequently because I'm going places for longer and immersing myself for longer times in different countries. But I do feel like every time I go, I come back feeling anew and different. And it's very interesting to see this because sometimes you think of, oh, I had children, so now I got to kind of stop my travel and calm down and be and give them the structure of being in one place. But this gave me a new sense of perspective on that. So I do appreciate them for their experiences and sharing them.
I rock with global citizens, yo. I rock with the concept, like the overall big picture concept of like concept of like traveling with the family and like teaching and showing the world to your kids so that you're like raising global citizens so that they are exposed to different things that lots of kids aren't exposed to and have a unique worldview and all of that stuff. So I rock with that as a concept, and I rock with that as a concept for a film, a pitch for a film. And then I also like the structure about going like, okay, these places, these like this, like going like taking us with you, I guess, on the travels to each of these different countries, and then like the narration of like explaining, okay, some context about Venezuela or Colombia or Beirut or what all the different countries, Vietnam, all the different countries that they went to, and like giving like the structure of like, okay, we're going here, like graphic visual that you know, so that we can keep up as the audience, and then also like some context so that we can keep up with where your heads are, where the filmmaker's head is at. So I thought the concept of overall, and then the concept as a film, and then also the structure of the film. I liked all of those, and then also I liked the cinematography as far as like there were shots in here that I'm like, how did they even get that? Because it's like if they're traveling or whatever, like all the like drone shots and stuff and all of that stuff, like they really went the extra mile. Like it was as in it wasn't just like a vlog. You know what I'm saying? It's like they set out, they knew, planned specific intentional shots that are like a drone shot from like the from like on the roof or whatever, and they're like as a family all standing together, like things like that. I really appreciate because that shows like the extra mile and like makes it more interesting for the audience. Um, and then also I like the whole message of like traveling. I think that this film, you know, it got me to want to travel, and I don't want to travel usually. I'm the type to be like, if I could go anywhere, I'm going to Houston, where I'm from. You feel me? So it made me gave me a new appreciation for the benefits of traveling, and I think that's kind of the whole point. So mission accomplished as a filmmaker. So well done, good job.
This is a really touching documentary, pieced together really well. It's just it was interesting and delightful to meet the whole family, to get them involved on in that level in the making of this film. They seem really sweet, such a great family unit. So it was really a delight to get in on that, close personal level with them and meet them and see what makes them tick. I just thought they were all really adorable together, and this film is just a great example of a really strong family unit, and they are doing a fantastic job at raising global citizens. So my hats off to them, to the whole family, and everyone involved in making this. It's a really strong piece. Congratulations.
So I just watched Raising Global Citizens. I thought the film was fantastic. The film is just so wholesome and heartwarming and warm. It's a very personal film. It's very vulnerable. Um, I really enjoyed watching the traveling adventures of the Primus family. It's really cool to see them experience so many different places and cultures. I particularly thought the Lebanon sequence was really powerful. Um, I think this is a film that addresses deep issues of happiness and how to live your life and how to live each day. Um, and I thought it took a really uplifting approach to all of those subjects. And overall, I really enjoyed watching it.
Raising Global Citizens. This was such a beautiful film. And I know it took him so long to actually complete this film, and I think it was worth it because I had a lot of fun watching it. I think that it was visually stunning, seeing all the places that he and his family had gotten to travel to and experience all of these different cultures. It was really nice to have, to get a chance to see his two children, Quinn and Roman, experience new cultures and new people and make new friends in all of these different places. I thought that that was really, really cool. I loved the message of this. The message of this film is really important, and it's gorgeous. It's a beautiful message. The only thing that I had trouble with was you have this opener that is just breathtaking. And you have one of our lead filmmakers talking to you about their experiences and why they decided to start this film. And you're going along and, 30 seconds goes by and then a minute goes by and you don't know what this person's name is. And he's talking about him and his brother and you don't know what the brother's name is. And it kind of goes on for a little bit longer, and that was the thing that pulled me out of it. I wanted to know, Joel, who you were a lot sooner than when you told me because I wanted to feel that connection with you. And I didn't get that right at the very beginning. Finally, there were moments where you told me who you were and I wanted to cheer. I also loved the creative way that you guys decided to show where you were traveling to from Vancouver. It reminded me, it was a very modern day kind of Indiana Jones-esque way to do it. And I loved it. I thought that that was really great and really creative. It was beautiful. The editing was fantastic. I loved the pacing of it. You had some really genuinely funny moments in there with the editing and with some of the underlying music. So great job all around. This was such a stunning film.
I loved Raising Global Citizens. I thought that the message behind this documentary was super prevalent to today's life of, fast-paced city living, hustle culture. And this film just reveals another way of life that Americans, I feel like, brush aside for this city lifestyle. And in fact, this city fast-paced lifestyle is killing a lot of Americans. And just seeing how these families raising their children to be global citizens, and to appreciate all these aspects of other cultures, and not, have American culture, Western culture, Canadian culture, be the end-all be-all for how to live your life. I thought that was a really powerful message here. I loved that we hear a lot from their children, and their children's perspective is so important in this film. They let their kids interject in their interviews and conversations and put in their perspective and input. So I thought that was really cool. You don't see that a lot in documentaries, having kids be such a focal point and have their voices be heard so loudly. So that was cool. I also enjoyed how from each country they share what they brought away from that and what they took home and what they continue to practice in their day-to-day lives in Canada. So that was a great way to sort of summarize each country and what they took away from that. I thought that overall the narration was very personable and clear. You felt like you were just around the dinner table with this family learning about their experiences. And also they didn't shy away. They didn't just, visit these beautiful, calm, peaceful countries. They also expanded their horizons. They went to these war-torn countries like Lebanon, and I think they said something really important about showing their children that an incident, a war, doesn't represent a nation, doesn't represent that culture, and that culture is still very important to learn about and to share with the world. So I thought the messages in this was very prevalent and something that a lot of Americans and Westerners can take a lot away from. It was a very important film, and I really enjoyed it.